So hi everyone, we are back again, and this time we have a very special that we play later in the evening. It's Bjørn Torske. Hi Bjørn.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, so we were just talking a bit about the venue and everything. So do you like it? we are liking it a lot.
I find this venue very special. It's very unusual for me to play in a place like this. It's not very often. Outdoors is also very nice in the summer.
Yeah, we think that too. So yeah, we just wanted to chat a little about your music and maybe your artistic vision, as well as maybe if you have something going on for tonight, DJ set. I don't know if you prepare or anything, but we will just talk there. So maybe I will start with a question I wanted to make you. Is that you've been around, I would say, at least 30 years now in the dance scene, sort of, or more than that. How do you feel, still touring around Europe, around the world, I think, and still bringing your music and your taste to maybe also younger people like today? How does that make you feel? How are you reacting to that? I think it's a good thing, but you.
Well, I've always been doing what I want to do with music, and that is basically try to make people dance, and of course also listen. But primarily it's the dance music, because I see myself first and foremost as a DJ, with production as a kind of a supporting actor to that mission. Where my production is kind of a further exploration into the techniques and feelings of sound and beats and everything like that. So I can do a DJ set and I can get inspired to make a track, or I can sit in the studio mixing a track and thinking, okay, these ideas could be adapted into a DJ set where I not necessarily play my own music but other people's music, but the way I mix it. If you mix certain styles and make them build together in a certain special way, that's some of my motives to explore this. And that is also, when you speak about the younger generations, it's something that I see repeat itself or explore itself in the younger generations, the way of finding their own style of mixing music, making music, composing music, and not least DJing music. So it's nice to be able to bring this to other people and to feel that you get kind of some like audio response in what you do, because you recognize some of the philosophies or feelings in other people's music that are similar to my own.
So with all your experience, do you think you're also still learning something new, or do you think do you or rather do you try to learn something for your DJ sets and your time in the studio? Yeah, I think so.
That is a very important point to learn, because if there was nothing more to learn, there wouldn't be much more to do or explore, if you understand what I mean. So that's a very strong thing for me, is to explore and learn, and from all types of music, how people think about constructing and composing music, and also in DJing, to learn new factors and varieties, and kind of hitting new notes, speaking in a metaphor, so discovering a new mix, for instance, when you're out DJing and you try something you never tried before and people react positively to it, okay, there is something in this, and you will explore it further maybe the next time, or maybe in the next production.
Yeah, and I also think you're also doing a very good job of teaching the people, because when you perform maybe a DJ set or a show, I think a lot of people are going to to feel inspired by what you play and the way you play. Since as I said, you've been around quite a long time, and I think it has shown by now that the value you have to propose to the audience during one of your performance. So regarding maybe the creative process of both your DJ sets and maybe your studio production, what's going on behind them? Are you listening to or maybe taking inspiration from other artists, other music, or maybe even other type of art, so movies or anything? And how do you combine your inspiration to create your DJ set or your production?
I always think about composition means a lot in music, in food, in art, in architecture, in nature, and then kind of picking up these small things is vital for me. Of course, I listen to a lot of different types of music, and there are many musicians and many DJs that inspire me very much. Not only the old experienced ones, but also the new younger generations are very inspiring. Of course, it's not always that easy to keep up with all the new things that are happening, but when you pick up something, it doesn't always matter what style of music or where this DJ comes from or how old he or she is, or how long they have been going on. It's all about the music and the discovery of that. It's still, there's a vibe going, and there's creative force feeding that vibe and keeping it, That's, it's sometimes hard to put your finger on the, one point with what's good in music and DJing, but I think that's, the composition to create a unique vibe from night to night, from record to record, and making the audience feel good.
And are you usually one of those DJs who likes to, maybe tell a story with their DJ set, or are you more like, going with the flow and see what happens next? Are you like preparing even a little bit your set, or you just bringing, a lot of records and just decide on the moment based on what you see?
Well, basically my preparation for a DJ set is picking the records when I'm at home before I go, like, for instance, to a gig like this. I'll go through my records and I'll pick up maybe sometimes a bit random, and this one, okay, I haven't tried this before, okay, I'll include that one, and I'll include maybe some records that I know will work. So the preparation for my DJ sets are my DJ sets. The last DJ set is maybe a preparation for the next one. You discover new things every time, and you try to discover more if this can do something with your crowd. Sometimes it works really well. Sometimes maybe I've played a club one weekend and something special worked very well there. I come to a new club and it doesn't work, that happens. But it's always that rehearsal and performance go together. I don't mix that much at home.
Okay, so then are you still touring a lot? Are you trying to, since this is your, let me say, you say that every DJ set is a preparation for the next DJ set. You like to keep it going, or you're trying to maybe take some time also to, in between set, maybe to think about, and I don't know if you need that, or if you want to do that, or if you like to keep doing it as much as possible.
I play out a lot, so I travel a lot and play a lot in different places. Like tonight, for instance, I've played 2 festival gigs earlier this week. Kind of similar, but also different settings, but outdoors and summer vibes, and so it feeds off. The next gig feeds off this previous in that way. And yeah, I just like to explore. That's my main motivation, you know. And if I find some strange record in a secondhand shop, you know, and listen to what is this kind of music, or even if it is music, you know, I will bring it with me. If it gives me something when I'm listening to it, I might listen to it at home, not necessarily in the DJ context, but I listen to it and it's like maybe it's something noisy or some old experimental electronics, and try to find some place in the DJ set to incorporate it. Even if you do like a classic mix of house tracks, which is not very innovative, but you add some little pieces, you know, some frogs or some electronic noise, whatever, traffic, you know, just to enhance that feeling. I feel that gives me a lot.
Yeah, and I think that applies also to your production, no? Because if you once go through your albums and singles during the, you have quite a vast discography, I would say. You have a lot of stuff. I think that also the strange element, maybe that set the track apart. Maybe for example, I just got recently your 10 inches on Svek with the Aerot remix, which is also very, very, very creative and also very fun to play, and it's different. I think it gives you it gives a statement of what your production is and what you're trying to talk about. Let me say in your tracks. Correct? Am I wrong?
No, that's very correct, because sometimes when I play in a place and there might come some people up and ask me, can't you play something we have heard before, something that people know, you know? They want to feel familiar with the music. I can understand that, but that's not my motive. My motive is in the other direction. It's like exploring the jungle, you know, finding new strange animals or certain dangers, or going places where you never were before, and finding new landscapes.
Yeah, I think the jungle metaphor is quite apt for this, and because also a very distinctive element that I always hear in your track is the percussion element. You're a live percussionist as well, right? You do play percussion sort of, but you have a lot of percussion credits on a lot of tracks, so.
Yeah, I sort of play percussion. I'm not a percussionist, but I love to dabble around with different sorts of, I mean, even not instruments, but just things, you know. You can beat and make sound. If it sounds cool, I use it, you know, to success or failure, whatever. But yeah, there are a few patterns of my percussion experiments in a few Sex Tags releases, I know. Sometimes I didn't know they were there before the record was released, and Stefan from Sex Tags calls me and says, "Yeah, we have a new 12-inch out, and you have percussion on that one." And so, okay, I can't remember that. No, it was a session we had in your studio 3 years ago, and we had some excess recordings and we used them. Is it all right? Okay, they'll even pay me for it. So.
Okay, since you mentioned the Sex Tags and everything, I think can you talk to us a bit about the whole Scandinavian scene? Because I think in the last 20 years, the Scandinavian always done their thing, and sometimes they have reach outside Scandinavia, I would guess, but a lot of the stuff maybe is getting more popular now. I don't know why. Maybe the Sex Tags hype helps a bit, but there are also maybe other label and other crew that are, I think, were very influential, like Svek, we already mentioned, and also Small Town, and also Full Pop and everything. So can you talk us a bit about the Norwegian or Scandinavian scene and your part in it, and maybe if you have something interesting to tell us.
I think one of the factors with the Scandinavian scene and the Nordic kind of disco electronic scene is that these countries are still quite young when it comes to club culture. It's not like the States, UK, Italy, who has had the club scene running for years and years, you know. We don't have any disco DJs that started in '69 like Baldelli, you know, or so. But there has been also like very dry during the ages in for instance Norway with music. It was very narrow, it was very mainstream, so there was a need for experimental music. So you got a punk scene from old, and then you got the electronic scene that started in the 80s, very, very underground. But the need for creativity was there, and there was very little audience. The audience was the other musicians, you know. It was a gang of friends, and you would make music to amuse each other and try to push things, you know. So that's some of the roots in what's happening in Norway today. And even as many artists are successful abroad, the majority of Norwegians still don't really know what is going on in that scene. They may have heard the names like Torske or Lindström, but they don't really know what's going on, you know. And that's kind of a blessing for the scene, that there is a narrow audience, and that you have a space and the possibility to experiment without being formed by a local success, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear, you know, how this works. As you said, maybe sometimes it's better to have maybe a more narrow audience, but which is more prepared to the experimentation, let me say. So since you said that, you know, there wasn't really a dance culture or club culture, let me say, how did you and maybe, you know, other musicians, you know, started going in that direction? You know, what were the inspiration you got? Did you know, maybe start seeing what was happening abroad? Yeah.
Speaking for myself and my friends, I was a radio DJ in the late 80s as house music started, like 87, 88. We had a little part of it. I mean, we got some music in that movement, but the more underground stuff, there were friends from the same town as I, Tromsø in northern Norway, who had moved to London and picked up what was happening there. So they got all the imports, the Transmat, the Trax records, Jack Tracks thing, all that stuff, and brought them back, and we heard it, and we were like, wow, where is this happening? Where can we get these records? Okay, we bought them in London, they said. We went to London. So we got into the scene from that way, from that angle, which was very much dominated by raves at that time and pirate radio, which was very much an inspiration for us.
Okay, then, yeah, I think, you know, we had an interview last year with Lori D. I don't know if you know him. It's the techno artist based in Rome, which is also said the same kind of thing. You know, they were traveling to London just to get the records to play at their own party, which I think was a little later than your era, but still it's always quite relevant. You know, just going abroad to get inspiration and come back, bring the music, and just, you know, do your own thing with it. I think it's really, really a familiar scene we already seen. So what else? What can we expect maybe from your DJ set tonight? Do you have any special? Did you get any maybe record on your way to between the festival and this gig? Do you get anything new?
I received a test pressing of one of my new 12-inch from Small Town just before I left. So I'm gonna play that one. I have odd bits and pieces lying around. People hand me music, you know, and sometimes it's really good, and I have to play it. So there are stuff that I don't really know what is, because they are white labels, but I love them. So I also have some Balearic Gabba records with me. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the only odd thing about it is only 1 hour, so I need to kind of select. It's selecting, hard selecting. You know, you haven't got 4 or 5 hours to spread it out. So I don't think I will play 3 tracks from the last 4 double album from Prince Thomas, for instance, even though I like it very much. Principe del Norte, a fantastic record.
Okay, and maybe last question. What are your plans for the future? Do you have anything coming out beside the new single? Maybe last year there were the reissues of your 2 albums from Small Town, which I think were really nice to have because they were quite wanted on discos and stuff. So it was really nice to have them. Do you have anything else planned for the near future?
There is production in the works. It has been recorded and mixed, and it's being edited now. It's Small Town Super Sound, and it's me and another guy. I'm not telling. Hopefully it's out in November. It's going to be interesting. I'm curious about this project, and I know Small Town Super Sound is as well. It's going to be an album and released as a CD and digitally, and then it's going to be put out on vinyl in a series of 4 12 inches instead of 1 box, so the DJs can choose. I think that's a good thing. So just follow, so you will hear.
Well, thank you very much, Bjørn, for being here with us today, and I hope you have a nice day here, and and I guess we'll see you tonight at the party. Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.